Okay, today is a big day, everybody, because we are sitting here with the 111th pick from the 2017 NHL Draft, a Hockey East Player of the Year, a Walter Brown Award winner, a Mike Richter Award winner as a member of the Maine Black Bears, a World Junior bronze medalist, a member of the NHL All-Rookie Team, the William M. Jennings Award winner from this past season, and the greatest giver and receiver of hugs in all of sports. Jeremy Swayman is on the Empty Netters podcast. Let's go.
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me.
Hell yeah, dude. On that note, I know you've said this before. How did the hug originate?
That was funny, man. I mean, I've actually been hugging goalies since college. So it's funny, like, not too many people know that, but I just love the boys, you know, and like they're the goalies, like, you know, goalie to goalie relationship is pretty unique because, you know, there's only one net and, you know, it's really something that we compete for, right? And sometimes, you know, guys aren't going to get along. So, you know, I just kind of took it as an opportunity to, you know, make each other better. And when I met Linus, it was an instant connection, and I knew that he was going to be an awesome dude and just a great competitor and partner to be with. But the hug was so natural, man. Like, we were doing it in training camp, like just out of nowhere. But, you know, to see what it is today is nothing like we could imagined. And it's been pretty special to see how the fan base and the hockey community as a whole has taken it.
Yeah, I was going to say you surpassed the Boston fan base community, and you guys are NHL fan darlings now. It's unbelievable.
It is unbelievable.
Like you two are on the NHL's Instagram or NHL's Twitter almost every other week with that hug, dude.
It's amazing.
It's the hug heard around the world. Yeah. It's unreal.
That's pretty special to hear, man.
We got to get there's a big merch line and product stuff here at Friday Beers that's like Hug Your Bros, and we got to get you to a Hug Your Goalie shirt. Like, we'll make you a custom Hug Your Goalie.
1,000%.
That'll be
That's
sick.
such a good idea.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, wow.
Well, dude, you know, on the goalie topic, you are our first goalie on the show.
Yeah,
which is
dude.
really
Come
special
on.
for both you and us. This is you never forget your first.
I told Dan it was like the Wedding Crashers stick. Like, him and I are going back and forth thinking of our guests, and Dan's like, "It's our first goalie," and I was like, "Yeah, it's our first Asian."
It's unbelievable.
Glad I could relate to that one. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm honored, very honored. Thank you. Boys.
But dude, you have kind of gone against the grain with the whole goalie thing, and you constantly claim that you're not weird. And I need to know, we've all got something weird, dude. So what's weird about you? What's the weirdest thing about you? Even
Man,
if
like,
you're saying you're normal.
Yeah, it's self-proclaimed, right? Yeah, hopefully if you ask my teammates, they'd say the same thing. But I don't know, man. I think I just kind of go with the flow. I like having fun, and just, you know, when it comes to game time, I think that's when goalies and hockey players in general get like the superstitions going and stuff. But I've just kind of enjoyed the process and, like, you know, not feeling pressure, just being like more excited about things than anything. And so when, you know, you're getting ready for a game, we all have our routines and stuff, but, you know, say, you know, your headphones die, it's not the end of the world, right? It's just, you kind of laugh and move on, and that's all you can control. So that's why I claim to be a not weird goalie, but I'm sure the boys would say otherwise at times. So hopefully that's a good reputation.
I kind of think how little, you know, I read a little bit about your pregame, you know, you do the juggles or whatever, but you don't have to be the last one off at warmups. Like, you're cool with everything. I think the fact that you aren't weird is the weirdest thing about you as a goalie. Like, if you were my goalie, I'd be freaked out about how not weird you are.
Just double-edged sword.
Yeah.
Can't win. Eh? Yeah.
He truly can't win. He's just, you know,
like, that guy's weird. He's so fucking normal.
People get suspicious about Sway because he's just a cool, normal guy.
Yeah, right. That's funny, man.
Dude, we've got a million Maine connections that we've got to touch into. Obviously, you're a Black Bear. We grew up in Maine.
Let's go.
Look, there we go.
Always.
Love it. But you played in the Falmouth Country Club Driving for Kids tournament this June. So first, let's get into that. How'd you hit him? And then did you do better than Clemens? Because seeing the guest list there, seeing that the Rocket was there, was the most surprising thing ever, because I feel like he's a villain in New England, and now he's in this Maine golf tournament.
Oh,
so how'd that go?
It was amazing. the Drive for Kids guy, the staff, obviously the Maine community that came out. It was first class, and it was the first ever celebrity tournament I've been a part of. So seeing guys like Clemens and having, huge names there and just kind of talking about, their professions and what they did growing up, and obviously their pro careers was something that I've never experienced. And, it's just amazing how nice these guys are, away from their sport. Like seeing the Red Sox guys, the Patriot guys, and truly all over. You're at the range and you're just talking like it's just a normal day. Yeah. And that was the coolest part about it. And you're making these connections. So if you see them again, you remember each other and talk about something fun. But as far as the tournament itself, they had that course the greens were probably the fastest in the New England area, at that point in the year.
Yeah.
So I got to do a practice round a week or two earlier, and I just got chewed up by this course. Like, I was so nervous. I'm like, I'm never going to be invited back. Like, this is so brutal. And so kind of that week prior, I was like really trying to dial in my swing and ended up shooting pretty well. I actually couldn't play Saturday. I had to go to a wedding, but I played Thursday, Friday. And I think on Friday I shot a 79. So that was like fun. Yeah, that was a big win. And my best friend, from Portland, my buddy Hans, he was my caddy too. So it was a special event to be able to share that with him and all the amazing people there.
Well, dude, when you say you got chewed up in the practice round, what was that? What'd you shoot that day?
Oh man, I think I shot like a 48 on the front nine. Like just like you hit the green, it just goes flying off.
Yeah.
One of those days where you stop counting.
Right. Because we were actually talking to Tomer today about you coming on, and he was like, who's playing golf today. So he's like, oh yeah, I just got off the course, played horribly, shot an 89. And I'm like, fuck off, dude.
Yeah,
like, that's, like, I know you want to play better than that, but like, I'll live with an 89, dude. Christ.
For sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. When we were growing up, we grew up in York, like the first town.
Oh yeah.
So when you're on the way up, so Falmouth, dude, was always like the rich kids, and they were so sick at hockey, like every time I hear people back up at Falmouth, it's like, that's so deeply ingrained in me that they're my arch rivals. I don't know have you ever played that track, Dan? Have you played golf up there?
I don't think I have, but I mean, we were just talking about the greens being so fast, dude. Like we were home for a wedding. I actually mentioned to you we were back home for that wedding, and our boys got kicked out of the Thirsty Moose Brewery. But we played in York, and it was like one day we played. Greens was like a parquet basketball floor. The next day it had poured, and the greens were like putting through a mud puddle. And you can't win. I was like, oh my God, I'm never going to be able to figure this out.
That's why we love it. That's what brings us back every time.
Exactly, dude.
So anyway, Tomer was obviously pumped that you're coming on, another Alaska boy in the house. And like we were talking before we even started, the Alaska crew loves Alaska for sure. But dude, you love Alaska. So I want to talk about that for a bit. Tell us about what
he also loves Maine, which I fuck with.
Same.
Really. Yeah. I love that you've got. I mean, this is a mutual love here.
Yes.
I was partially worried that Maine wouldn't even hold a candle, but it sounds like the love goes both ways.
We're in it. Yeah. So we'll get to Maine, but tell us just, the things you love about Alaska. I know you've talked about this before, but how hard it was to leave. And like, do you see yourself going back there once the career's over and you've won 15 Stanley Cups? Like, is it back to Alaska then? Or, talk to us about that.
I hope we have enough time for this podcast. No, but, oh man, I could talk about it all day. And, I think, we can go a bunch of different routes, but I think growing up there in general as a kid was one of the most unique things about it. And I think I definitely do one day want to move back there just to have my family and my kids grow up there and just see the wildness that you could experience outside your front door every day. And I think just the mindset that all Alaskans have on nature and life and, just understanding that all is well in the world when you're hiking, in the middle of nowhere, you don't have cell service and you really don't know anything what's going on except for the here and now. And so that was some of the most incredible, lessons I learned from growing up there. And the community itself, just so tight knit. You can't go to Costco without seeing, classmates, teachers or coaches, especially in the hockey world. And the hockey community there is even tighter than, the community itself there. So that was a couple of the most special things I learned and loved about growing up in Alaska. So, I mean, I can't wait to go back. And this is the first summer I actually haven't gone back, unfortunately. So I missed it. I missed it big time, but it just makes you appreciate it that much more when you don't get that every day.
For sure, man. It's is all the family still back there?
No. So it's like my turn to, plant roots there next. So
Wow,
dad,
yeah, the responsibility has been put on your shoulders, dude. That's brutal.
And it's been vocalized too. It's like, you're up. I'm like sick.
Yeah. You're like, fucking A, guys.
I know. Yeah, here we go. But my dad moved to Arizona, and that was it. Like, that was my last, home, right? My childhood home. And I could go back there and, sleep on couches, with buddies and stuff. But I think it's cool to, kind of get that detachment in a way, and then come back and just kind of start your own path. And that's what I do want to do. And, the summer house kind of vibe is what, I'm looking forward to. But again, that's years in the future. But I'm going to have to put down roots there someday and make all the fam come back.
Yeah, for sure. And you talked about how tight the hockey community is there. Does anyone stick out in your mind that when you were a young player up there, that was kind of, you were just watching on TV, maybe paving the way, giving you advice of how to make it in this game?
Yeah, countless guys, man. And all our coaches that I had all played, pro hockey, and we all looked up to that. But obviously the ones that reach out are Scotty Gomez, Nate Thompson, Dubinsky, Tim Wallace, Joey Krabs, and I'm sure I'm missing, countless more, but those are the guys that, really paved the way and obviously had success in the league, and, always look forward to watching them when I got home from class. I know Tomer said on his last time he was with you guys, he was like, we'd come home and the 7:00 games were starting, right at 4:30, right?
Dude,
so
I never thought about that. Yeah.
It was awesome, man, especially come playoff time. And we'd walk home and I'd be so fired up and just sit on the couch and watch playoff hockey in the afternoon and then go hiking right after, so it was that kind of stuff that made it so unique. And, again, those guys are guys that now I've gotten to keep in contact with. And I remember skating, I was like 14 or 15, and I was invited to the pro skate for the first time.
Nice.
And I was so nervous. And I was like, it was a summer skate, these guys all coming back, and for a while, we had a pretty good crew come back, like the JJ Johnsons and those guys. And, I got the call up somehow. And I remember just like warming up and, getting my sticks taped and stuff and really focusing in and competing. And, we had great goalies like Drew O'Connell was out there, and Eric Shearhorn came out a bunch of times. So it was just really cool to see that Alaskan community that was making strides in the college and professional route come back, and we all got to train together, and it definitely elevated all of our games.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's so awesome, man. It was what was kind of your route? You don't need to take too long going through it, but I always find it fascinating listening to Tomer's story about how he got into junior and all the travel that you guys have to do to really play at that high of a level. What was it like for you?
Yeah, I wanted to stay in Alaska as long as I possibly could before I had to go. I wanted to ideally stay until I went to juniors, and I thought that was going to be a reality. I got tendered by the Kenai Brown Bears in the Null, and it would have been a perfect segue right to juniors because it's obviously in Kenai, Alaska. So I would have got to see family a ton, stay in Alaska, and get some exposure with juniors. And I ended up getting cut at main camp, and so I was devastated. I was like basically slated to be, on the team, and I was promised, head goalie starts as like a 16-year-old and all this stuff. And that was something that, I'm actually really grateful for today, because if it was, the premier, golden child path, then I don't think I would be anywhere near where I am today. So when I got cut, I kind of was on a scramble mode because it was like late August, early September, and teams were already getting going, especially, minor teams. And the fact that I was tendered, it didn't allow me to get drafted or seen by other junior teams in the Null. And I definitely wasn't good enough to be in the USHL yet. And so we were in total scramble mode, and there was no U18 team in Alaska. There wasn't enough kids to legit form a team. And so I was like, Dad, what do we do? And we ended up getting recommended this coach, Greg Vanover, out in Colorado Springs by a couple of guys that had played for them in the past. And they just said, this guy's going to get you to the next level. And so we gave him a call, and it was the same thing. We said, hey, we just got, terrible news, got cut by the Kenai, and we're begging for a roster spot here. And he said, well, I already have 2 goalies, but I'm going to give you a chance, and I'm not promising you anything. And you got to come in and win the job. And I said, I guarantee I will, and it was just kind of like a really special moment, in my career, my path, because he wasn't promising me anything. And I kind of liked that, because I was promised stuff before. And I said, that's never going to listen to that again. I'm going to make sure that I leave no doubt every time I touch the ice. And that year ended up being the best year of my life to this day. Just the teammates that I had, the billet family that I had, the Nolettes, amazing people that I still keep in touch with this day. They actually came out to the Winter Classic. It was awesome to see them.
Oh, hell yeah.
That was awesome.
Oh, yeah. And so that year ended up being great, development-wise, personal-wise, the stuff I learned off ice, living away from home at 16 is stuff that I still use to this day. And I ended up getting drafted by the Sioux Falls Stampede that summer and went to camp and ended up making the Stampede. So I did a year in the USHL, and then basically that I was uncommitted still. I knew I wanted to go the college hockey route. And I remember playing my first game in Omaha, where they had this USHL summer or fall showcase. And we did that tournament, and it was awesome. Like, ended up having a little bit of success. And then after that game, I had like 15 schools wanted to talk to me. And it was like, I got sent in a locker room, and my coaches said, hey, schools are going to come talk to you. And I was in there for like over an hour. And it was like that scene from The Blind Side, right? It was just like,
yeah.
I've never talked to a school before, and all of a sudden, Ohio State, Maine, Minnesota. It was like, no way. So it was a pretty special moment. But obviously, ended up meeting the coaches from Maine, and it was funny. Like, what separated them from the other coaches was we didn't talk one thing about hockey. We just talked about what Maine had to offer, nature-wise.
Wow,
it was unbelievable.
That, you know what? Yeah, my follow up was gonna be, how in the world, and coming from a Maine boy,
well, dude,
how in the world did Maine win out?
My favorite part,
all those schools.
My favorite part, because I had a couple questions that you already answered. And I was going to ask, like, what the other teams, that were banging down your door. It's so awesome, and to be, the belle of the ball all of a sudden. I loved that I read that you, you grew up going to college hockey games with your dad. So college always felt like the right path. And I also saw you say Maine was one of the few schools that wasn't like, you're going to start right away. They were like, dude, you're going to earn your minutes. And you just go through the Kenai thing where you're like, talk is cheap, bro. Like, I'm happy to earn my minutes. I want that. And then to hear you be like, well, Maine actually just told me about the hikes and the rivers you can fish in. Orono usually has to hide that from everybody. But for Sway, they're like, bro, you can walk in the woods all day.
They must have been so pumped up talking to Sway. They're like, this kid's from Alaska. We're going to push the fucking cold wilderness. He's going to love it.
This guy's a weirdo.
We knew it.
There's your answer.
Was it at the end of the day? Was it kind of an easy decision when you chose Maine? Were you like, "This is the right call. I'm 100% in on this," or were there any doubts? What were maybe a couple of the other schools that you were considering down to the wire?
Was anyone close? Like any other school where you were like, "Oh, maybe them," or was it Maine all the way?
There was, and that was the really fun process with it. Was like, I was constantly on the phone with my agent and my dad, and just kind of getting all this crazy recruiting. It was like a good problem to have, right? Because you want to focus on, your year, but at the same time, you're focusing on, your future. And so it helped me a lot, with time management skills and really understanding, like focusing on the here and now. And I think Maine did a really good job of that with allowing me, to have time and make a decision. And all they wanted me to do is just say, hey, come for a visit and the rest will take care of itself. And so I ended up agreeing to come for a visit. And I remember it was a Sunday. We ended up playing the day before, and I got flown out on this small plane, and it was like 3 flights to get to Bangor. And I'm like, I think we went out the night before, and I was like, regardless. And so we're getting there, and I'm on, flight 3 going in these small propeller planes. I'm like, where the hell am I? And we get out, and Ben Guite picks me up, and we go right to campus, and there was an exhibition game against like Xavier College. It was one of those college, Sunday pre-exhibition games, and the place was jammed, like to the brim, for an exhibition game. And I'm sitting there watching, I'm like, this is what college hockey is. And it was like that game just kind of sealed the deal for me. And it was just like, it wasn't the glamour that, you know, the Minnesotas had or the Big Ten schools had, but it was like the culture and the feel and everything that you want in college hockey. And so I fell in love right away, man. I was like pretty much still like on the edge, like, you know, I want to experience other schools, like other coaches. And then I ended up meeting Red. And that's when it was game over, you know? And so Red, you meet him, he shakes your hand, his bare hand just takes over your whole fist, right? And it's like, okay, what's going to go on here? And sits down, he's got the white hair, you know, and he's complete classic college hockey coach. And we end up talking, and the same thing, man. It wasn't about hockey. It was about family and how he wanted to make me a better person rather than a better player. And he said, basically, like with his speech, he said, you know, what I'm going to help you with is not only going to become a better human here, but when you do that, you're going to become a better hockey player. You're going to play for the crest. You're going to learn everything you need to learn to get to the next level. We're going to give you every opportunity to see to the next level. Just all these truths coming out. I could feel it. And I remember calling my dad after that conversation and just telling him, like, Dad, I think it's over. You know, I absolutely love this guy. I love Alfie. Alfie wasn't even he was our goalie coach. Yeah. He wasn't even a full-time coach yet. And so we FaceTimed in with him. And
no way.
It was the coolest thing. And he was just all excited. And the same thing, he was like, you know, we're not guaranteeing you anything. We want you to come in and earn it. We have a starter, and we're going to give you opportunities to take it over. And that was it. And then all these other schools were just offering, you know, you're going to come in as a true freshman. You're going to start. We're going to get you games. We're going to get you drafted. Or I was already drafted, but basically we're going to get you to that next level. And it was just all fluff, man. Like I couldn't bear hearing it anymore because I've already been through that road before, right? And that's when I look back on that time in Kenai, like how grateful am I to experience that at a young age rather than being in these crucial moments in our careers when it comes to college and pro and stuff. So it was all scripted in my mind. And yeah, Red was definitely the reason why I ended up going to Maine in the long run.
I love that, man. And it's, you know, making that decision where to go to college is such a huge decision. And I feel like we all have so many friends who have been through that. And I'm sure, you know, through, you know, whether it be USHL or junior or whatever, we've all had those guys who were promised something, and then they come in and they're cut or they don't start and they're like, Jesus Christ, I just committed 4 years of my life to this school. I'm not even playing.
Totally.
It's like, you're right. It's hearing the fluff it's such a good warning to get early in your life because then you can avoid the mistake later. It's crucial. But if it weren't Maine, where was maybe number 2 or 3 school?
Man, I mean, I didn't visit any other schools.
Yeah, dude, he knew.
Let's go. Listen up, folks. You may or know is where it's at, dude.
It was no other school, man. Is that crazy to say? Like, I didn't even visit another school. I was just all in, man. And like, that was so telling to me. It was just, I think the stars aligned. And then I obviously hung out with the boys after, saw the hockey house, and it was just like a scene out of a movie. And I'm like, all right, game over. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the pinnacle of college hockey. And I loved it, man. It was a blast.
Ah, that's great. Dude, who were some of, you know, we had a fun time talking with Tomer about the type of hockey that you watch. We actually can relate to, you know, being out here on the West Coast. You know, we're Bruins fans, and it's the best when that 4:30 puck drop happens. We're like, yep, this is fantastic. You can get it going right away. And I always love hearing the stories being from Alaska, who you loved watching growing up, what teams you focused on. And I know that you were a big Holtby guy when you were younger, growing up, idolizing him. Where was he? You know, did you love the Caps? What was the deal with that? Or would you just love the way he played? And, you know, who are some other goalies that you kind of idolized or maybe modeled your game after?
Yeah, I mean, you named it. It was definitely Holtby. And my dad was a Rangers fan. He was from Brooklyn, and so we had Rangers posters all over the house. You know, just with the classic garden, you know, pictures and stuff. And so I had to be a Rangers fan in a way. But yeah, Alaska didn't have a team, obviously, and I like to just look at different goalies and model my game after multiple different goalies. You know, I was looking at the Carey Prices, the Ben Bishops, the Tuukka Rask.
Yeah.
Exactly. But like he was so like different from my style, but you still learn from these guys, right? And like
Yeah.
Pecorines and like Johnny Quicks, obviously. And you know, it was just really cool to have that big array of these amazing goalies that have had success in the league for so long. And just watching them, I'm a visual learner, right? And so when I saw them and the tendencies that they had and how they accepted plays and just their compete level, their skating ability, to all out, you know, effort to stop the puck, I just wanted to model my game after that. And to this day, like I definitely don't call myself, you know, a super cookie cutter goalie. You know, I just do whatever I need to do to stop the puck. And that's like when I have the most fun, because I just black out and just have a blast getting in front of that little thing. So it's awesome.
And dude, Maine was a bit of a hotbed for goalies there coming in as you went there. Did you have, because we were big Hockey East guys, dude, growing up, you know, our parents or our mom went to UNH. So coming from York, that was a pretty easy drive to Durham, you know, and it was a fifth of the price of a Bees game. So we went to 1 million UNH games.
Sick.
And and it was so awesome. And did you feel, because you were fucking nasty while you were at Maine the whole time. Obviously your third year was bananas. But the team was like, you know, fifth, sixth, or kind of middle of the pack. Like I think you would have made a good run at the Hockey East title your last year without, I think COVID shut it down, obviously. But how did you feel about the level of play of Hockey East? Because it feels like to us there's been a little shift towards those Midwest schools, right? You know, we're seeing Denver and Minnesota, North Dakota, everybody winning over there. What'd you think of the compete level at Hockey East while you were there?
That's a great point, because I forgot to mention, like, Hockey East was a big driver of why I wanted to go to Maine too.
Yeah, totally.
And so, like, you know, Alaska, West Coast, like when Hockey East teams would come to town and play UAA, like we were in the WCHA back in the day, and they were sick. Like you'd have North Dakota coming and all these major teams, and you know, Hockey East was like so foreign. Like my dad always kid, he's like, BC would never look at you, like don't even consider it, you know, that kind of stuff. And they didn't, by the way, so I took that personally. But regardless, it was like it was really cool to be in Hockey East, because exactly like you said, like it's such a market on the East Coast, and like there were fans there's like 5, 6, 7 Bruins jerseys in the Alphond every night. You know, it was like just because I was drafted. I'd never obviously played a game for the Bees yet, but that's like the love and passion that these people have on the East Coast for hockey in general. And then the Maniacs are just a completely different breed, you know, and it's just, I see, you know, 10 to 15 Maine jerseys at every Bees game. And it's just the coolest thing. It is out of control. And I think, you know, it is, you know, something to be said about Hockey East, about, you know, guys wanting to come play in Hockey East because of the obviously incredible history that it's had, the players that they've had, and just the commute. You know, it's all bus travel, and that's actually, it's a big deal in college hockey, because, you know, you're missing school. And you know, I took school really seriously, and I wanted to make sure that I got my degree out of this at the end of the day. And I knew it was a possibility that I would leave early too. So I just wanted to make sure that I was getting all those requirements done and being able to play hockey too. So that was a big thing about, you know, the travel being a lot less per se than the West Coast schools. So I'm excited about that.
I bet it was hard to, on the accelerated program, I bet it was hard to get homework done in the hockey house.
We found a way. We found a way.
Don't we all?
A lot of group study sessions there.
Exactly. You named it.
No, but you're right, man. I feel like you got an early taste of it with seeing that exhibition game when you went up for your visit. It's like, you know, say what you will about a school way up somewhere like Orono, but they do love hockey.
The Alphon brings it, dude.
And you know, it's the same thing at the Wit and all across Hockey East. It's like the fans are there every single night, and that is such a huge pull. It's awesome. And especially somewhere like Orono, it's, people are watching Boston sports, but it's like there's not a lot to compete with you, you know? So it's the best game in a building for miles. So that's such a huge factor. You gotta love it.
Yeah, you named it, man. It's and it's cool because it's a smaller campus too, and so you're walking around the next day and you're laughing because you saw the frat guy that was chirping you about, you know, failing your economics test that day, and then he's watching you play BU that night. You know, it's hilarious. Yeah. Like, it was so cool. So that's like, a lot of my buddies were guys away from hockey too, because it was just a smaller community, and you're able to see, you know, great guys all over the place.
Yeah. So, dude, we've talked a lot about your love for Alaska and for Maine, and something that I've always loved about goalies, and actually through my career, I would get on my goalies because I played D, and I was a big goalie guy. Like every game, every team I ever played for, up through, mites, peewees, high school, junior, everything, I would always go straight to the net and take care of the crease for you, so you wouldn't have to. Unless
God, I love you even more.
He does it in men's leagues. I'm like, bro, what are you doing?
Dude, I put the pegs in.
Yeah.
You are the
I'm
man.
like, my goalie will not do anything, dude. But I would always get on my goalies if they didn't have a sick mask set up.
Sure.
And you have a sick mask set up, and you got the state of Alaska outlined in the back, and you've got the it's not rocket science quote. So for the listeners, I want you to explain that it's not rocket science quote, and then also curious if there's going to be any changes to the mask this coming season.
For sure. No, that's awesome to hear that. I knew that because I loved you so much, even from afar. Yeah. So this is great. It all makes sense. But it was cool. Like when I first got to start painting my helmets, I was really excited because, I got this inspiration about doing state outlines. I don't know what goalie, but I knew Alaska was going to be like a really unique one. And I mean, you never forget your roots, right? And the only reason why I'm there is because of the people there and the community. So it was really special for me to be able to do that and have that, personal piece of it on the back plate. And then it's not rocket science quote is from Alfie Michaud. And I mean, I can't say enough about that guy. I mean, to this day, we talk, once a week, it seems like. And I'm actually going to be going up to Maine in a couple weeks to do a goalie camp with him. Just do some, get some of the little guys out there and be able to skate. So I'm excited about
hooked,
that. Yeah, totally. And I mean, the conversations that we had, obviously about hockey, but just about life in general, is totally the reason why I have the mindset I do today. And just being in that Zen focus about, controlling what I can control. And the sun rises tomorrow, no matter what happened the day before. And so the thing that we used to use is like, when I first got to Maine, I was all excited about, the videos and, this next level of like scouting. And I'm like, oh, give me the shooters. Like, what are the percentages? And he's like, Sway, we're not doing that. Like, it's available to us. Yes. But it was unnecessary to do so much because too much video and too much, pre-scouting could be a negative thing too, in a way, because then you're expecting things to happen. Then when they don't, hockey plays happen and you're in a complete wrong position. So, we came up with this quote that it's not fucking rocket science way. Like, it's just,
stop the puck, buddy.
It's just getting in front of the puck. And like, I don't know why, but it just clicks so well with me. And, I use it, to this day, not only in hockey, but in life in general. And so it's something I get to look at, not only to remind me of him, but just to remind me that, really it's just a game. It's not rocket science. We're having a good time, man. Enjoy it.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So is it going to stay the same for this season?
I like to keep the back plate. Yeah, I think it would be cool to have a back plate the same throughout my whole career. So I don't think that's
I love that.
going away anytime soon. But this year is our 100th or centennial year. And so I think I'm going to have some fun with some old school centennial stuff. So I have yet to make it. So I got to get on that. Good reminder.
Nice. When you get that done, I expect a text with a picture of it. I want that before everyone else.
I need approval. From the man.
Yeah, exactly.
Send some inspo too. Whenever.
Yeah. Okay.
Dude. So you were saying, you get drafted before you even get to Maine, which is amazing. But, and I know you've told this, but a lot of our listeners won't have heard it. Can you just tell that story again of when the draft was going down and you're up in Alaska with the bad Wi-Fi and like you think you're going to be a Leaf and all that shit? Can you tell everyone that story?
Totally. Yeah, what a unique one, man. I was at my breakfast table because, again, we're 4 hours behind. And
yes,
I knew I obviously wasn't going to the first round. So the second round started at like 9 a.m. Eastern time. And
oh, damn. Early for you.
And so we were up early, and it's just
Sway, you're like, Dad, we got to get up at 6, and he's like, you're not going in the fucking second round.
Relax. Yeah.
Pipe down, buddy.
Yeah. And so there was it was cool because throughout that year, not only was I talking to college teams, but NHL teams, were coming to practices, to games, and you would kind of talk to them after. And that was my first year being eligible for the draft. And so, there's a lot of hope. I think on that central scouting list, I was like a C-rated prospect. So that was 4th to 7th round. Right. And so it was one of those things where we talked about going to the draft, but it wasn't necessary just in case, that kind of thing. And was very hopeful. but you just never know with the draft. And that was that. So I'm watching the draft online. I don't know what I pulled up, but regardless, my dad and I right there, and comes the third round, nothing's happened. A couple goalies got taken as expected. And I got a text from my agent saying, I know Toronto was hot on you during the year, so just like kind of be by your phone, yada, yada. And so every time Toronto came up, we'd kind of like, all right, maybe we get a call, what's
maybe,
up?
yeah.
Like, it's exciting. And so the fourth round came, and Toronto was up like 110, and they picked a goalie. And my dad and I are like, no way. Like, it was like, oh man, like, all right, maybe not this year, that kind of thing. And, just kind of bummed, but at the same time hopeful still, because they talked to, other teams. But so we're sitting there, and all of a sudden I get a text, and it's from my buddy actually from Alaska. And he was at the draft, and he said, congrats, Sway. And I'm like, what? Like,
what are you talking about? Pass, dude. What are you talking about?
Yeah, like I just missed. And so I'm looking at the screen, and the next pick's the Bruins, and I'm like, all right, well, nothing's happened yet. And so then I get a call from my agent, and Mark Toof, he's like, Sway, you're Bruin, let's go, like, unreal. And I'm like, the fuck? Like, no, I'm not. Like, I can't see anything. And so I'm like, then my phone starts blowing up, and it's
doubt.
like real. And finally, I'm like reloading this thing on and on and on. And it shows up, Jeremy Swayman, and we had a pretty good celebration. It was totally unexpected, which was the coolest part, I think, because you're so like devastated for 1 second, the next second it's like new world opens up. So that was a pretty cool experience to share with them, and glad it turned out the way it did.
Hell yeah, dude! It's what a roller coaster too. It's
my
you
God,
think you're going
totally.
You don't. And you're like, shit. Okay, like I mean, what now? And like next thing you know, you're back on top of the world, and it's like
next
whiplash.
And being out there, you get the whole day. East Coasters, they're celebrating their draft at night, dude. But you had the whole day to party. That's incredible.
Totally. Oh, I'm just saying. I think we got the family together, had like a barbecue, and it was pretty fun. It was cool.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
So obviously you get scooped by the Beast, and I'm curious, man. What was it like coming into that team? You eventually, you go to Maine, then you end up with the Bruins, and you're in the same locker room with Tuukka Rask. I need to know everything because, like we said, these guys and Tuukka, I just think it makes no sense because he's a Vezina winner and he is, in my opinion, got to be a future Hall of Famer, and I still think he's somehow underrated. I think Tuukka is like the most diabolically good guy, good goalie, and just person that we've ever seen and heard of. And I need to know what it was like learning from him, being in the same locker room as him. And we talk about how you're not weird. That dude is weird.
Yeah.
And I want to know all the stories.
Oh man, I love that guy. I've golfed him quite a bit this summer too, which has been awesome. Just continuing that relationship and friendship. But day one with him, it was him and Yarrow. So I came up and had two, awesome veteran goalies right away, just to kind of be around and learn from. And we bonded pretty quick. He's totally chill, right? He's just same way, like kind of an Alfie vibe, and goalie Bob for that matter. Just totally chill and just like goes about his business and gets it done. He gets it done, which is what I always admired about him. And no matter what was going on in the locker room or in the game, he just always competed, endless competitor. And it was really fun to do like goalie sessions with him because his detail was actually spectacular. Like, he's on game, close to 1,000, it seemed like, right? He's played so long and he's still just hammering down on these goalie sessions. And it was just really special to watch that and learn from that. And so a lot of the stuff that he did, I got to watch and learn from. And then once we really started bonding and getting to know each other off the ice, it's developed into such an incredible relationship because I could text him for anything. And not that we always talk about hockey because that's actually more beneficial, I think, than just to be friends and like talk about life and stuff that, we can just get along with. And being able to golf with him and spend time with him like that has been a blast. I'm hearing his stories and whatnot. So, I think the absolute world of him, and I know that we're going to have a friendship for many years to come.
Dude, I saw he said when he retired, he came back and then retired pretty quickly, and he said something. He did that ceremonial puck drop and said to you, call me anytime, and I'm here for you and for helping you win. I was going to ask if you took advantage of that, but it certainly sounds like yes, he's still in your corner at all times.
Totally. He's got one of the best saunas I've ever been in too. So that thing is, God, man, I got cooked in that thing. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah. So it's been awesome.
This is at home. It's like at his place.
Yeah. He's got 2 saunas at his place. So it's, if you don't like one, you go to the other one. Well, the Finns, man, like they do it right over there. And
yeah,
I love
self-care.
Oh, it was awesome. So actually, when I went to Tampere for Worlds, I texted him and I'm like, what do I do in Tampere? And he texted me back and he goes, what do you mean? It's the best place in the world. It's where he's from. I like didn't put that together. I'm like, oh yeah, it's sick. Yeah. And it ended up being the best place ever. Like it was awesome. So it was cool to share that with him too.
Thank God you didn't say something bad. You were like, I'm going to this shithole, Tampere. Like, what the hell can I do over here?
Yeah, like you have no idea, right? It's Finland, so it's just totally new ground.
What was Tuukka like with the boys? Like on the road, is he clowning with the fella? Like, give me a weird Tuukka story if you have one.
I mean, yeah, he's he's just like a fun guy, right? And even at the wedding this weekend, pulled him out of the dance floor. Like he's just always in the mix, right? And it was just so fun. And yeah, like everyone, you can go to dinner with anyone and have a good time. And that's what, we've always had a blast. And, as soon as the drinks get flowing, it's even more fun. So it's just kind of that stuff that we've bonded with. And yeah, it's just, everyone likes him and he's a super easy guy to get along with.
Yeah.
I love how Tuuk's also got the fire in him because he's got that amazing shootout blow up in Providence and then the skate blade throw. Like he's a chill, awesome guy, but the wires will cross. And that's a guy I want in the foxhole, dude.
Hell yeah.
100%.
That's great.
I definitely
it's beautiful. I also need to know why he has 2 saunas. Yeah. Like is it a space thing? He knows the boys are coming over, or maybe it's just he needs a sauna so bad in his life that if one goes on the fritz, he's got the backup. Yeah. It's like having a backup generator.
All the above.
Yeah,
exactly.
And then would you say, you touched on it a little at the beginning, but would you say pretty similar experience with Linus, kind of just learning from each other and steel sharpening steel and all that with the tandem you got going now?
Totally. Yeah. And that was the same thing, right? He comes in and just an awesome guy. Everybody could get along with him. And, what I really love about Linus is that he seeks to help, and it's pretty cool. He's done a really good job with, managing me being a younger guy. And, he knew that if I was going through struggles, he knew whether to have an arm distance or come on in and be like, hey, Sway, let's talk. And it's actually a really incredible skill that he has because, at times, he's totally right. Guys need to go through the ups and downs of the league by themselves and really, dig deep and understand, how to get out of these ruts or these tougher times. But at the same time, he understands how beneficial it is to have that, helping hand, someone to lean on. And I've really, admired him about that. And I mean, the guy has allowed me to be literally a part of his family. His 2 kids call me Uncle Sway. It's the coolest thing.
That's awesome.
And I love Harry and Lily. I love Moa and I love Lena. So it's a totally expanded friendship that's it's gone far above the ice. It's just so incredible to have that kind of relationship with your goalie partner.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, that's why it's so good.
Yeah, really. So we gotta. This is okay. Here's the worst part of the pod, worst part of the interview. But it's feel good that it's gonna suck equally for all 3 of us because we're all so pumped. But we gotta talk Panthers series. I have 2 big questions. I think
I just watched Sway's soul leave his body.
I know.
Yeah. It's what are you gonna say right now?
I have 2 big questions. One, and by the way, actually, if some of this is that's inside baseball with the team, then you don't have to answer. But my 2 big questions are. One, when going into game 5, so we're up, where you guys are up 3-1. We are up 3-1.
We're on the team.
Yeah.
You're on the squad.
Yeah. Are you going into that game thinking I'm probably getting the nod in this game, right? Because we've been kind of tandeming all year. He just played 4 straight. He hadn't played 4 straight since November. So that's my first. I'll ask them both. You can answer however you want. First question is, by game 5, were you I got to be getting a nod right now? And then second question, because I know you found out you were starting Game 7 like the day before or whatever, so I'm not asking that. I'm asking, did you know that Linus was like really banged up? Like, did you know he was really going through it that whole time, or what was the deal with that?
I mean, I think the best way to answer that is I expect to play every game. And, and Linus knows that, and Monty knows that. Everyone knows that. And that's, a precedent that I want to set, first and foremost, loud and clear. And I think, when I have that mindset, it allows me to be prepared without having to prepare. And
very well said.
Dude, you don't have to get ready if you stay ready.
1,000%. And like, I know I enjoy it when I feel that way. Like, it gives me confidence, and I know it gives my teammates confidence. And like, I love routines, and I love, being fired up because it's Stanley Cup playoffs, man. Like, it is so easy to get motivated for that. But in Boston, it completely elevates. And, so I think that's the best way I could answer that, is just always expecting the net and wanting the net.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Dude, it must be so difficult for Monty too, but like, it must be so difficult dealing with both of you who are absolutely firing all year. We were actually having a conversation a while ago that the league is certainly changing towards way more goalie tandems, right? Like, it used to be these guys are getting 60 some odd starts. And if the league keeps going that way in the regular season, it kind of creates a question in the playoffs. Cause like, the playoffs start, do you go, oh, you switch back to this old model of like, we're just going to ride this guy the whole time, or do you keep giving the rest? So I totally get that. And I love the attitude, because that's the only way to survive it, right? You're like, dude, I'm ready to go. So I got the boys back at all times.
100%.
The other kind of bittersweet topic, Bergie retiring. Obviously, we don't need to, waste breath on how important he was to the franchise. And I'm sure on a personal level for you and the boys that we couldn't even begin to describe. This is something I have for you, dude. Little detective work here. The video that came out of you guys saying bye to him. You guys are all wearing what you were wearing on the exit interview day. So you all knew like in May. But I am curious, like, was that hard for you guys to not say anything? Because obviously everyone every 5 seconds is asking questions about it.
I think, we knew it was a possibility. And so I think that video was just for a safety net in a way. But like, you could tell, like, all of us are pretty emotional in that video in a way.
Oh my God.
And like,
dude, yeah.
I mean, a huge motivator for us the entire year was to win a cup for Bergie and Kretsch. Like, huge motivator. And when we didn't do it, it just stung like so deep. And like, you could just kind of hear it in the voices. Right. I think, it wasn't like our decision at the end of the day. I think they just did that video just in case, but like, we were going to give our all because we knew he would give his all if one of us was retiring, And so
absolutely,
that's such an awesome comment.
That's something that, we took seriously. And I mean, I wish I could do another one because I love the guy, and it's been special. But guy's been working out at Warrior every day.
Dude, I was gonna say we've been seeing him on the ice.
He was picking up Marshy at the wedding, dude. He looked great, buddy. Yes. You kidding me?
Okay, that was hilarious, by the way.
That was hilarious, dude.
So,
oh my God.
You guys realize what he was doing, right? Like their dance.
Yeah.
It was Charlie.
Oh, I don't know if I did.
It was Charlie Coyle's dance to
choreographed
his
wedding dance
wedding dance to the T.
Oh my God, dude!
They
I didn't know that. That is so funny.
It was incredible, and so it was kind of like a jab, but like at the same time, it was so well done. Like they're just studs. Those guys are the best, man.
Dude, that is so funny.
It shows their chemistry too. It just goes beyond the ice. They knew Coyle's wedding dance like that.
Yeah, totally. It was awesome, man. It was when they broke that out, I was in tears. Like everyone was. It was like, no way. So just an awesome thing to see.
Dude, as his, former teammate and obviously dear friend, what do you think is next for him? Do you kind of see him staying in hockey somehow? Do you see him taking a breather for a little while, or what do you think is his path moving forward?
Man, I hope so. Like, I would love nothing more than to see him around the rink every day still. But you got to respect like 20-year career. It's
dude,
take a step back and be with his family, which is again another incredible family. Steph and the kids are just awesome. Like, they're always around, just supporting the guys, and it's really special to see when families get involved like that and they're just so supportive of the guys. And obviously a Bergie himself. So, yeah, I think I would love to see him in, around the rink some more. And I'm sure that that's a decision that he'll come to eventually. But I'm going to his charity game tomorrow up in Quebec City with a few of the guys. So we're going to be on the ice with him another time, which I'm super stoked about. So that'll be fun.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. God, what do you think? Obviously, there's so many great veterans on the team already, and powerful voices in that locker room. But it must be weird trying to picture the season without him next year, right? So, who do you think steps up and fills that void? And who's trying to? No one can replace. Remember the Titans line?
You cannot replace a Gary Bertier.
Yeah, you cannot replace Patrice Bergeron. But who kind of steps up in that locker room and has a voice?
Yeah, there's no one that's going to replace him, and but I think we have so many guys that are able to do it, man. And I'm actually really excited to be a part of that next generation, because, as a younger guy that's started to be, part of this young core moving forward, it is really special to see, like, when I first came in the league and during COVID year, like how much these guys have matured into the leadership role. And so obviously I think, Marshy is going to be awesome, as a leader. He already is a leader, and we already have leaders, is what I'm trying to say. Like, it's just going to be an easy transition because these guys have taken it so seriously over the years. And so I'm excited to see those guys step up and take charge of the room.
Including you, like you said, dude. Yeah, you guys having your turn.
I think exactly. I was going to add, just like it allows guys like us, goalies is kind of different, right? You don't want to be rah-rah, in the locker necessarily, but like, Bergie was so good about when he was choosing his times to bring the boys together and seeing, when the guys are all in the locker room and just verbal cues, man. Like that's what it is for us. Like, we're all in our zone, but like you know what he's going to say, but when you hear it and it's like the passion that he comes with, it's like, let's go, like let's fucking go kind of thing. And I'm excited to see guys do it. And I know that, I'm excited to do it too. Right. And just like verbal cue, in the locker room at different times. And I think to have a locker room with multiple guys speaking up instead of just one is going to be just as powerful. And Bergie was a huge advocate of having multiple guys speak as one. And like Foligno was a huge one last year for us too. It's just awesome to see the veterans that we've had in that locker room and are getting again this year. So it's going to be really fun.
Incredible. Yeah. When does camp start?
I think the 20th September.
Okay. Yeah. So I can't remember if we were recording yet or not, but you said you decided to do Boston this whole summer. I read you were doing that. So, talk to us a little bit about, what have you been doing? Like what kind of training you've been getting to this summer, getting dialed up for next year?
I stayed in Boston, and a big reason for that was, the training that we have access to here is just top notch. And I've been sticking around Warrior and going to BU a little bit, and our trainers at Warrior, just hands-on. I think getting that hands-on extra, training is just because we use his programs. Kevin Neal, we use their program when we go back to our home states, right? But it's a little different working out in a public gym rather than, Warrior or BU.
with Bergie. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's cool to be able to compete with these guys because, Alaska is a little unique because, exactly like I'm going back to a public gym. And, I love working out there and seeing, familiar faces, but at the same time, it's a special thing to have, kind of that structure during your summer and really focusing in on what I need to do to get better and the things I need to get better at. And then even with on-ice stuff, I've been able to jump out with Mike Dunham and actually Andrew Raycroft jumped out one time.
Oh, Razor. Wow,
yeah.
Sick.
I was golfing him the day before, and I'm like, hey, Razor, you want to come goalie coach for one time? And he's like, yeah, I do. And I'm like, really? Like, let's go. And so
oh my God.
I was so pumped. And so, the first shutout's going to be dedicated to Razor. But
there we go.
Yeah, it was funny. And so it's just awesome to see, like, all the people that, want to help, guys that stick around. Yes. And so that's been the thing that spoke to me most.
Hell yeah. All right, dude, we're going to get you into a game we play with everyone. It's called Pass, Shoot, Score. It's basically Marry, Fuck, Kill.
Yeah. Sure.
just a ranking system. Pass. We might have to tweak this for goalies, but we should have tweaked
it.
Basically it's like passing the puck, pretty good. Shooting's great. Scoring's the ultimate goal. Obviously, this is if you're playing out.
Well, Sway does want a goalie goal real bad.
I know you do.
I know you got very jealous of that Allmark goal.
It's coming, dude.
Work on it every day.
Yeah.
Just
So we're gonna give you 3 things that mean something to you, and you got to rank them. So we're gonna start off with food. So your first pass shoot score is dinner at Tresca in Boston.
Nice.
Pat's Pizza at UMaine. Or turkey meatballs from Janelle Foligno.
Wow. I mean, I think we all agree Pat's is not a food place, so we're going to be drinking there. So, like, that's going to be – we love Pat's. Don't get me wrong, we love Pat's, but Pat's going to be pass. And then –
that's a good loophole.
Yeah. Pass. Yeah, like it's up there.
It's a liquid diet.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, man, I mean – Janelle's so awesome, like so good. And then Tresca's been so good to me too. Given the context of when I needed those turkey meatballs, like I couldn't walk, although Tresca delivered it to me too. It's so good. It's like a tie, man. You put me in such a blender.
Yeah. I've pigeonholed you here brutally.
You have, like, you thought about that one deep. All right. Shoot Janelle, and then not shoot Janelle, but I'm saying, like, shoot Janelle, turkey meatballs, and then chicken parm with pink sauce, scoring that.
Oh.
Yeah.
A pink sauce guy, though.
Yeah, so you're a sauce crosser.
Yeah.
It's so good there, man. Yeah, it's unmatched.
That's true. They do, like, Tresca
is lit.
It's
dude.
like the pink sauce is on the menu.
Yeah.
It's not like
you get extra. Like you get extra. More.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll have a cup of it too.
I don't even want to see the chicken. I just want it to look like a pile of sauce.
Wait, can you tell the Nick Foligno story, just when you got hurt and like how that all went down for everybody?
Yeah, I would love to, man. I mean, so I got injured in Pittsburgh early in the year. Just kind of a freak play. So the guy slid into me, and then my knee hyperextended. My ankle went outside the post, and then I got player going right through my knee, and so my knee just kind of buckled backwards, and it was one of those things, like I've never been like laying down on the ice before, so I'm like, all right, I'm going to Marshy and Bergier over there, and then my trainers come out. Marshy loves telling the story. He's like I guess I was saying, like, I'm fine. Well, I'm a little fucked up. Well, I'm fine. You know, so, he like loves that. Yeah, it's like, just stay down. So
shut up.
Yeah. And so ended up getting the MRIs the next day. And then, by the way, like, the Pittsburgh medical staff they were all stars with that whole process, and like just right away going to the MRI and getting that scan. And so knew that it wasn't like a blown out knee or anything, which was huge news. And so I took the train the next day from New York to go back to Boston to start getting rehab right away. And when I showed up at my house, I had gotten a text, like, Fliggy was like, hey, let me know when you're home or something. And he was just like, hope you're okay, all that. And so I texted him, I'm like, yeah, I just got back, all good. And he's like, all right, you got a package downstairs. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah,
I can't walk, bro.
Yeah, I know. It's like, go to the front desk, and I go down there, and there's 2 like massive like Whole Foods bags full of Janelle cooked, like, handmade chicken noodle soup, turkey meatballs, like salads, and all this stuff that she knew I was living alone and I was on crutches. And so Fliggy texted her and told her to make me this incredible, like, smorgasbord of food. And so, like, it was like tears, man. It was like insane. I couldn't believe, like, the thought process that he had. Like, he was literally playing that night, and he texted Janelle the night before. You know, it was like, hey, Sway needs you. And so it just goes to show, like, what kind of human, you know, Janelle is, and obviously Fliggy for thinking like that, and you know, just kind of reading the room and knowing the situation. So, like, I'm obviously a Foligno fan for life for many other reasons, but like that one just like completely soars over anything that I've ever experienced. And what's cool is that, like, I'm going to remember that, you know, as a young guy. And so when I'm in the position to be able to do that for another player, hopefully no one gets injured, but I'm just saying, like, in any way, like, that's going to be something that I look forward to passing on. It's going to be Foligno, you know, that I think of right 100%. Away.
God, aren't they the best? And that's
Yeah.
Fliggy was thinking of that in the middle of the game.
Yeah.
And also Janelle is so awesome that he was like, Janelle will crush this for
Yeah.
me. Like that's such a sick move. God.
And like I got like, so I mean I could show you, but like the kids made me like artwork, like get well soon artwork too, and I'm still hanging it up on my fridge, and it's like
hell yeah,
it's
amazing.
God, it's
gonna be there forever.
And I got like cards over here. It's just incredible.
Bro, I was about to make you a get well soon finger painting when that happened, by the way. I had a panic attack, dude. I saw your knee. I looked at Dan and I was like, he'll never walk again. Our lives are over. And then you were just fine. Yeah. Like that was.
Well, he was a little fucked up.
Yeah, he was a little fucked up.
A little fucked up.
Yeah.
Holy shit, dude.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's your next one. This is Alaska stuff. And this is a submission, by the way, from Brad Shearhorn. So shout out, Brad.
Oh, hilarious.
Summit Mount McKinley. Drain a hole-in-one at Anchorage Golf Course, or catch a 70-pound king salmon on the Kenai River. But before you answer, I'm willing to change the fishing one to the perfect rainbow trout while fly fishing at Fisher Lake in Palmer, Alaska, if that's even harder.
Sure. Yeah, no. Well, it's funny. I caught a trophy there one time, so it's kind of, but it was
so you know what the stakes are. Yeah.
Man,
it's a trophy fish. So.
I thought he was gonna put in Moose's Tooth there for sure, like something like that. You guys heard of Moose's Tooth?
I don't think so.
Oh, it's like the best pizza place in the world. So yeah, good. Glad he didn't put that on me.
Made it easier.
Yeah. Wow. Hole-in-one at Anchorage Golf. What's the first option again?
Summit Mount McKinley.
See, I would love to do that too. I'd probably pass on that just because I know how dangerous it is and like
fair. We get a contract to think about. Yeah.
Maybe later in life for sure. So pass Mount McKinley, hole-in-one at Anchorage Golf for shoot, and then 70-pound king for score. Because that is epic.
That is epic, dude.
Yeah. Good one, Brad. Good one, Brad.
Yeah. Great job, Brad. Yeah. I gotta do some fishing up. We do a ton of fishing, in Maine back home, but it's just like striped bass. Like I gotta get up there and get into the halibut and the salmon game, dude.
Game changer. I was just out in the harbor, a couple weeks ago catching 46-inch stripers. I didn't even know they came in the harbor.
No shit.
It was insane.
Oh yeah, dude. It's good stuff.
What were you using?
We had
bait down there. Yeah.
We had topwater. We call them dildos, but they're like dillies. Yeah. So like the topwater spinnies. They're awesome.
That's all we used, dude.
Yeah, it's like the bass will like come up and just smoke them, and it's the coolest thing ever.
That's all we use it. I love it. It's my favorite. I mean, I haven't done fly fishing, which I want to learn, but that's my favorite way to fish because it's like it's so much more active, and seeing them come up and just smack that dildo, dude. I'm actually stealing that.
The dilly.
Yeah,
that's smack really the dilly, dude. Reel in a nice fat bass. That's
46, dude. That's fucking dope.
Yeah, there was some awesome stuff. So we got good buddies down here. They're affiliated with Costa, the sunglasses. So like so Joey Gugino, and he hooks it up, man. He's the man.
Yeah. Fuck, that's sick.
All right, gonna hit you with some hockey games now.
Go ahead.
So pass, shoot, score. Your first Sioux Falls Stampede game, making 48 saves in a 3-2 shootout win over Tri-City. Your last game at Maine, which was also on senior night, making 48 saves again in a shutout win versus Providence. Or your pro debut against the Flyers, making 40 saves, including 23 in the second period in a 4-2 win.
That's fucked up. It's insane. Oh, man. Well, it's just hard. Like, funny story about that Maine one is that we didn't know if that was going to be the last game ever in Alphon. Like, right. I mean, I just didn't know if like I was going back the next year and stuff. And like, we had to like win that game and somebody had to lose that game in order to have a home playoff series versus UConn.
Yeah.
And so like we just didn't know, if that was the last one. And so like I was actually on that victory lap like crying. Like again, like I'm soft. Sorry boys. Yeah. But
no, same dude. I'm such a crier.
Talking to a couple of the most emotional weak losers you've ever met.
It was just like so special because like you just didn't know if you're going to play in the Alphon again. And it was crazy to think like that. And then it just kind of hit me. But man, the order should go in the order, like, as you said it, like, it's just
as you advanced. Yeah.
It's hard. Yeah. So
that makes sense. I like that.
Yeah, just
I thought
because
the main one, Sneaky, would win just because of the show.
I know it's
like,
so
senior
tough.
night. Yeah,
Like, but man, like original 6 against the Flyers, like that one was insane. And then I actually like Tukes was there too, and so I got to like share that with Tukes as well. After like we were on the train going to the Capitals the next day, and
yeah, against
he
Holtby, dude.
yeah, and he like ISO'd me, and he came up and he said, "You're having a beer with me," and we just talked like for an hour.
Nice.
It was the coolest thing. Like I really appreciated that. That was a special
God,
moment.
that's so funny.
Dude, you know what is cool about that? And this is something I never really considered. We had Keith Yandel on, right? And he was talking about being a young player when you just kind of it's not like a given. You get to go out to dinner with the vets and have beers with them. Like they kind of got to like give you the nod or like the shoulder tap.
Totally.
So it's sick that, you're like, you just got called up. You played one game in the national, and Tukes is like, we're having a beer. And you're like,
yeah,
oh, sick. Yeah,
it was like one of those moments you don't forget. And like same thing. It's like, hopefully when I'm in that position, I get to do that and pass it on. So that's what I took from that.
We're going to redo that pass, shoot, score, later on, and we're going to put a new one in. That's the Stanley Cup
winning Game 7 in the Cup.
I think you know the answer to that one.
Yeah.
It's only going to be 4 games, though.
Yeah, okay, I like that.
Deal.
All right, so here's your next one. This category I'm just calling the creative arts, okay? Encompassing all the creative arts. Pass, shoot, score, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Finding Nemo, the movie, or personalized of all the fish in the sea homecoming signs to ask your date out.
Wait, what?
Dude, I have a deep cut picture of you.
Wait, what?
A deep cut picture of you making a homecoming sign for a date, dude. What's her name? I have it too. Megan. I think you took a girl, Megan, to homecoming with a hand-painted sign, dude. Like,
you're a sick puppy.
It is fucking perfect, bro.
It says, out of all the fish in the sea, Meg C, homecoming with me.
That's insane that you guys brought this up. You guys, all right, I'm going to get you back for that one. That's awesome, though. Oh, man, I can't wait for you to come to Boston. That's good. Okay.
What sucks is there's too much dirt of
dead.
both of us
dead.
on the internet. It's terrible.
It's insane. Yeah. Why do we have this? Like, all right. Well, yeah, that one we're gonna pass on just because that was a tough time in life. Obviously, just trying to fit in apparently. But and then shoot would be Finding Nemo.
Okay.
And then,
is that your favorite Pixar though?
Yeah, it's up there. I mean, it doesn't miss. Yeah, but
Sway's got a fish thing, dude. I mean,
good point. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, I do. It's weird. Now I'm weird goalie. Here we go. But the Red Hot Chili Peppers for sure. They're studs, man. I got to see them at Fenway last year. It was the best concert ever.
Yeah.
Wow.
Are they still your number one band?
Yeah, man. Like them and Camp. Have you guys heard of Camp?
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So got to see them live a few times now. They don't miss. So it's been awesome.
That dude, Chili Peppers at Fenway. That's a time.
Oh, it was
that's
electric.
A bucket list one.
Totally.
They don't miss. They don't miss. It's unbelievable.
They're still rocking. They're like 70. And they're just.
I know.
It's crazy, dude. They are on PEDs for sure. There's
something.
They did in the 90s. It's
incredible.
Unbelievable. All right, dude. Your last one will wrap you up. This is an activities category. Your pass shoot score is playing bocce ball in the North End, taking ballet classes, or going for a long drive in Doris.
Doris. Fuck, she's a good girl.
Is Doris still with us?
No, Doris got sold just like the house. It's insane.
Yep.
Yeah. Like,
wow, that's a double blow. Dude.
I know.
That
just like hard. The ship is
that sailed, is hard.
Man. Yeah, Doris, she didn't miss because she had the VHS cassette player and like it was just awesome. Like, yeah, my dad just loaded that thing with like Allman Brothers, like Doobie Brothers and Grateful Dead. So it was pretty cool. But have to pass on Doris because that was like a great chapter, but
she lived a long, good life, dude.
400,000 miles of good life. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Dude.
Just pieced it together. And then what was the second and third option again?
Bocce.
Yeah.
And then ballet classes.
Yeah. Pass on ballet, or sorry, shoot on ballet because that's a tilt. But bocce, bocce North End, we'll get you boys out there. You'll see it's electric.
Oh, dude, I love it.
Dude.
We are the biggest yard game / beach game people you'll ever meet.
Love
and
it. Yeah, you guys
when I
are
saw
in.
you got into bocce, I was like, oh, yeah.
Can you
Sway knows
please
what's
tell
up.
me about the league? Like, I was mesmerized to hear that there's like a locals bocce league in the North End.
I'm like nervous. Like I don't know how to join, obviously, but like it's when they're out there, they got back right court, and like
Yeah.
I don't even want to make eye contact because like I don't want to like
Yeah, dude.
you know. But yeah, they have the league back there, and it's just so awesome to see like the local North End, folks just out there having a blast. So it is pretty cool.
Oh,
yeah,
it's so fun,
sick, dude. I want to do that really
Is that
bad.
your GOAT yard game?
bocce ball. I mean, I like spike ball a lot. Gets you moving a little more.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Spike ball is though like you can't really half-ass spike ball. Like,
Yeah.
you gotta really dial in and play for
Exactly.
keeps in spike ball. So
yeah.
if I got a beer in hand, I feel like for me it's either bocce or Polish horseshoes.
I love
Sure.
Polish. Yeah.
Cornhole too. Doesn't. Yeah, that's a fun one. No, that's
That's a
awesome. Man.
solid one.
Yeah, you guys
And
went
then-
deep. That's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, you got to, dude. You got
Awesome.
to. And Sway, for the listeners, so they know it wasn't random. I heard that because you took a ballet elective at Maine to help with balance and everything. I heard goalies still do that there. Is that true?
Well, and dude, I can jump in and say I did a hip hop dance class all 4 years of college for the same reason, and it
Unreal.
helps so much. So
Yeah.
I'm with you, dude.
Man, I wouldn't want to dance battle you. Like that seems like
Sway's
I'm out here
pirouetting, dude. And-
pulling like plie releves. You're doing backflips. Like sick.
Well, it depends on our audience, dude. If we've got a classical audience, they're going with you all day long.
Could read the room. Definitely could.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did take ballet, and at first it was kind of just like a joke, just getting through, electives and stuff. But at the same time, it was actually so clutch because it did help, like groin strength, just like internal body awareness and knowing, and ended up taking it pretty seriously, like where we were like sweating during class, and so like,
Fuck yeah.
three of us, we were actually supposed to do a recital as well. And then COVID happened, and like all the boys are all set to go.
Dude, no.
I know.
Oh man, I would have loved that video of that so badly.
Yeah, it would have been a scene. But it is funny because like that was my junior year, and ended up like using those tools a little bit, just with my like warm up routine and stuff. And Alfie was like, "Yeah, we're gonna continue this for our goalies." So all the goalies have to take ballet now. I'm like, sorry, fellas.
Left your mark on the program.
Oh,
Yeah, I
tough.
Anytime UMaine's recruiting a goalie, they're like this. It's great. You're gonna love the outdoors. We do ballet classes. It's unbelievable.
Exactly. Yeah. Great.
Oh, it's unreal. All right, well, Sway, we've taken up enough of your time, my man. But before we let you go, is there anything you want to shout out or plug before you get out of here?
Man, no, you guys have been great, and obviously just another shout out to the Alaskan people, and hearing Tomer's story, it was just so fun. Like I reached out to him right away, and I was like, dude, the parallels of our upbringing is so cool. Like just how he was talking about UAA being a huge factor and stuff. So it was really special to share that with him, and I'm glad we got connected, man. Really appreciate you guys having me out.
Absolutely, dude. It's a blast.
Our pleasure, man. I was so surprised when Tomer was saying the same thing about like Gomer and stuff, the guys before him. So I think I was naively not aware of that bond and connection the Alaska crew has, but it's been such a cool thing to watch, and there's more guys in the league coming up, so just like you in the Bruins locker room, man, you're trailblazing now, so keep it up.
Nah, man, appreciate that. But yeah, it totally doesn't happen without guys like him and Gomer. So it's just been cool to like develop a relationship with them. And again, like those are the veteran guys that have reached out to the younger guys and like got that shoulder tap, and like anything I need, I can just shoot them a text. So it's pretty cool to do that. And, I'm excited to kind of do that to the next generation and hopefully, continue the great legacy that they built.
For sure. Well, dude, this will be hopefully the first of many of you times you coming on here, because this was a blast.
Yeah, definitely hope to be back. Thanks, fellas.
For sure, man.